Hey, welcome to Living in Laguna. My name is Ryan Huggins, and if this is your first time on this channel, we're going to go over what it's like to live here in Laguna Beach and the surrounding areas. If you are new and you want to find out more information about living in this area, go ahead and consider subscribing by clicking that subscribe button, and also click the bell notification so you get a notification every time a new video comes out. So today, in this video, we are going to do the top 10, really the top 5 pros and top 5 cons of living in Laguna Beach. So a total of 10. We're going to go ahead and count down by 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then we'll go back and forth between pros and con. So every single day we get people just like you that are moving here, and we love it. So that is what we do. We help people relocate and buy homes in Laguna Beach and the surrounding area. So if you ever need anything, my contact information will be in the description or right here on the video as well. So thank you very much. Here we go. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and kick it off with pros, and we're gonna start off with number 5. The number 5 pro of living in Laguna Beach is that you are very close to Los Angeles and also San Diego. In fact, we are almost right dead center of the two. So LA, Los Angeles, if you wanted to get from here to Staples Center, it is 60 miles. If you want to get from here to San Diego, downtown San Diego, it is 70 miles. So very, very much the center point, which is very nice because you can have so many different things to do all in between there, and also to enjoy in LA and also San Diego. Now, number 5 con, and by the way, again, this is just one person's opinion. These cons may be pros to you, these pros may be cons to you, but this is just what it is in my personal opinion of living here. So number 5, the con of living in Laguna Beach is the cost. So everything is a little bit more expensive here. The reason being, there is not any big major stores here. So you're not gonna get a bunch of lower costs. You're gonna get a bunch of local businesses, which is great. We'd love to support our local businesses, but with that, it is gonna be a little bit more expensive. You do also have to realize that these small local businesses have very large costs as well, because the living in the actual city of Laguna Beach itself is very expensive, but also to rent a location to run a business out of is very expensive, and those costs do get transferred to the clients. All right, so moving on to pro number 4. Pro number 4 is going to be the art community. Laguna Beach is phenomenal for art. So every first Thursday of every month, there's a thing called Art Walk where you can walk around. You can go into all the different galleries. It's basically like an open house of all the galleries. You can go check it out. You can go find local artists. There's tons of local artists. You can find out-of-state artists. They all come here to have their art hung in the very famous galleries here in Laguna Beach. So great art community. Not only just the sales aspect of it, but also the creation aspect of it. You know, you can actually travel out Laguna Canyon Road, and there's glass blowing art, there's artist communities out there, there's art studios that you can be involved in. So it's not just PCH as far as the art community. I know a lot of people come here, they drive down PCH and they see all the galleries there, but there's actually art everywhere in the actual city. In fact, there's even art when you just walk around. Every park has a nice statue, sculpture. There is art everywhere in Laguna Beach, and it's really fun. It's really exciting. There's so many creative minds that live here in Laguna Beach. It actually is kind of what makes the city unique. All of the homes are different and unique as well. Very artsy. It is really nice and fun. All right, so let's go ahead and jump over to con number 4, and that is going to be building and development. So kind of like we were talking about earlier, there's no big box stores, everything is small. That is totally great, and it keeps the community as it is. Very unique, very small town vibe, which we'll get into, but the ability to develop here, it does take a while. So if you came here and you bought a home, you wanted to renovate it, you have to go through different steps with the city, make sure you get your plans approved and all of that. And then also when it comes to developing larger major corporations, they're not allowed to develop here in the city just yet. They're trying to keep the city a nice old school vibe, that small town feel, and they don't want it to be over commercialized, kind of like you see in Newport Beach, how it's becoming very modern and commercialized in that respect. So Laguna's trying to stay a little bit more old school, a little bit more traditional. Pro number 3 is the outdoor activities. So obviously it's a beach town, and we'll get to the beaches here in a minute, But number 3 pro is the outdoor activities. There is amazing walking. So you can literally walk basically anywhere, unless you live in the top of the world section and then you have to walk down, it would be a little bit more. But when you're living in the heart of Laguna, whether it's North Laguna, South Laguna, you can simply walk to PCH. There's shops everywhere. You can walk also the hiking trails. So not just walking, but then you jump to hiking as well. There's hiking trails everywhere. In fact, there's major hiking trails that you can go out and have a really, really great day. You can even go to hiking trails such as Crystal Cove. And then there's also major hiking trails along Laguna Canyon Road as well. Besides hiking, you can also go mountain biking on a lot of these different trails, which is nice. So very, very active outdoors. Of course, you can also go boating. I mean, it's a beach town. You can go boating. A lot of people leave out of Dana Point, go out and have a good time, go fishing, deep sea fishing, have a good time. So tons of outdoor activities. And then obviously, the most obvious, it's a beach town, so surfing. The surf sports are phenomenal here. One of the most famous beginner beaches, Thalia Street Beach, is here, where you can go out on basically any given day and you'll see a bunch of groms out there having a good time surfing with their moms and their dads, watching them and just really excited about them getting to learn how to surf, and it's just a great time. All right, so that brings me to con number 3. So con number 3 is parking. So you come here and you want to take your kid out surfing, but you need to find a place to park. So it is very difficult to find parking. All the parking along the main drag with PCH and also into the communities are actually paid parking, which is great because you can go and you can pay for the meter. You can actually pay through an app. Just make sure you bring coins with you or a card with you, or you can download the app and you can pay for parking. But with that being said, to find a spot can sometimes be a daunting task, especially midsummer when it gets quite crazy. We have the holiday weekends coming up very soon, and it is more difficult to find parking. Also, when it comes to parking, you don't want to park up in the communities. You don't want to park in people's houses, in their driveways or along their streets, because there is no sidewalks or parking in the actual communities of Laguna Beach. It is just smaller roads, and you don't want to be just parking in front of some random's house and then walking down to the beach. All right, so this moves me over to pro number 2. Pro number 2 is the small town vibes. It is so cool because of the fact that you can basically walk everywhere. You can literally walk down the streets and you're gonna run into your neighbors. You'll get to meet them. You'll get to know them and their dog. You know, I know a lot of my neighbors' dogs. We go on walks all the time. It's almost like going for a walk in a botanical garden here. It's quite amazing, actually. When you go for a walk, it does have the small town vibes. A lot of people waving at each other, having a good time. With that, that can be a pro and a con. A lot of people know everyone's business. So when it comes to the small town vibes, if you like that type of atmosphere where you want to be a close-knit community, then that's great. If you want more of a larger city where no one knows who you are or something like that, then you're not going to really get that vibe here. So the small town vibes is really cool though. Your neighbors are genuinely very, very nice. And also it is just an awesome community to live in. All right, so we're gonna jump over to con number 2 is the no big box stores. We mentioned this just briefly previously, but with no big box stores here, shopping can be a little bit more expensive, or you can just simply drive out of town and that takes a little bit of time. So there's 3 ways in and out of Laguna Beach. So if you want to do any major shopping, you're typically going to have to drive out of town, go to the bigger stores, or you can simply order your stuff online. Personally, I like to actually go to the stores and do some shopping, which is fine. So that's just kind of something you plan for the day. You're going to drive up to the city, maybe you go to Lake Forest, or you go to Laguna Niguel or Laguna Hills to do some shopping. And those are the areas that are going to have your more larger stores that you're going to be interested in, like Costco's, Nordstrom's, things of that nature. All right, and that brings me to number 1. So number 1 on our list, I'm actually going to jump to the con first because I want to end this video on a strong note. So number 1, the biggest con of living in Laguna Beach is the traffic. So traffic is a major situation. So when you live here, you will learn that if you need to go somewhere, you will plan ahead of time that extra 30 to 45 minutes to get out of town. Most people here who live in Laguna Beach will use apps to help them navigate time. Google Maps helps, Apple Maps. My personal favorite is the Waze app because it does help you navigate. You can even set a future time of leaving and it'll tell you when it is to go. But the reason the traffic is so bad is, we mentioned this earlier, there's only 3 ways in and out of Laguna. So one coming, if you're coming south down PCH from Newport Beach, that's one way in. If you're coming north from Dana Point on PCH, that is the other way in. And then the third way is coming from Laguna Canyon Road, the backside through the middle of town. So all 3 of these ways are usually congested depending on which time of day that you're coming in. So that goes back to that whole small town vibe, and also that feeling of Hawaii. When you get here, don't be in a hurry, don't be in a rush, don't be speeding through town. I know a lot of people try to, come through. There's beautiful cars here all the time, Lamborghinis, Ferraris flying around town. But they are very strict on noise ordinances. So if you're driving your extremely loud exhaust car, they will give you a ticket. So be careful with that. But there's beautiful cars. But when you're in traffic, just sit and relax. You're at the beach. It is hard. It is very hard to do that. But like I said, when I went to Hawaii for my first time, they told me that as well. They're like, hey, no one is in a hurry here. Same thing with Laguna Beach. No one is in a hurry. Get here when you get here. Enjoy your time. And then once you're here, just walk around. Find that parking. It's going to take a little while. So, plan to be here for the day. So that way you can get here, enjoy everything, walk around town, and have a good time. Now, that brings me to the number one pro of the video, and my favorite reason to live in Laguna Beach is the actual beaches. What is really cool is as you come in from the north, if you're coming down south, from the north of Newport, you're going to pass through Crystal Cove, one of the most spectacular sights that you're ever going to see cruising down the coastline. Amazing, beautiful homes on the way up there that you'll be able to see. And then as you come into town, you're going to pass through Gallery Row, and then after you get past Gallery Row, you run into Main Beach. That is where main traffic happens as well. But once you get to Main Beach, all the beaches start, and it's really, really beautiful part. So Main Beach is obviously the most popular beach. Everyone comes. That's the one on TV that you see all the time. It's got that famous lifeguard tower. It's got the tide pools, all of that stuff. You can go do some amazing things. Main Beach is going to be where you want to go if you want to lay out, have a good time. You're not going to really do much surfing there. It's actually extreme shore break, so it can be very dangerous as far as that goes. But you can walk around the tide pools, look around, and things of that nature. Then as you continue south from the north, you're going to run into streets, and each street that you come up to is actually a beach as well. So there's some hidden gems out there that you want to keep an eye on. So as we talked about, when you pull through, you're going to run into Thalia. Thalia is one of the most famous beaches to learn how to surf. There's some really beginner-sized waves there, which is really nice. Tons of people out there with Wavestorm surfboards just having a good old time. No one's getting mad at each other if you drop in on someone, because most people are just surfing straight down the wave anyway. And then as you progress up, you run into Oak Street, and then you run into Brook Street, and then you run into Pearl Street. Pearl Street is actually one of my favorite beaches to go to. It has this amazing giant rock. You got to go check it out. But Pearl Street Beach has this crazy cool rock. There's always really nice places to sit around there, and sometimes you can still catch people surfing in that little area. But it is really nice because the beaches are amazing. I love to go surfing at Brook Street. That is my favorite spot. I'll put a little clip in the video here. That's me getting out there for the first surf session for me of this season. It was a lot of fun for sure. But the beaches are amazing, and there's all kinds of different things when you go to the beach. Some places when you go, there's only surfers and you can't swim. It's very dangerous. So here, there is a section for everyone. There's a place to go if you want to go surfing. There's a place to go if you want to go swimming. If you want to throw on your goggles and snorkel, you can go out there in the water. And then there's also sections where you can go skimboarding, you can go bodyboarding, anything and everything there is in Laguna Beach. Amazing beaches everywhere. So that is the top 5 pros and cons, so total of top 10 countdown. Thank you guys so very much for watching. Again, if you need anything real estate related, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'm here for you. Thank you again. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Talk to you later.